Okay, we should be live. Let me see. Check. Okay, boom. Looks like there's a little bit of lag, but that's probably good. It's not a bad thing. We're gonna take it from there. All right, so I'm starting a new little series. These are gonna be the market outlooks. Pretty much what we're gonna do here is kind of look at longer term swing trades. We're gonna look at stocks, forex, futures, crypto, really any asset with candlesticks is fine. And what we're trying to do is just set up, good trades, good swings, probably make some money. I should start this off by saying, you know, all the risk you take on these trades is on you. I'm not a financial advisor. This is entertainment. Wink, wink. Um, so yeah, don't come looking for me crazy. If you mess up a trade or something. And the thing with this too, I'm not a fortune teller. I'm not no market insider, nothing like that. I just have a strategy that I'm going to test on live markets in real time. Um, One, I think it's a great way to sort of reinforce your strategy. And in the past, I've had pretty decent results following um, this method of analysis. So, with all of that said, the whole risk disclaimer out the way, and whatever you think I am, I'm just an analyst on YouTube. Let's go ahead and jump in. If you have any stocks or assets that you want to uh, have broken down, I'll literally pull it up and we'll look at it real time. So just throw that in the chat, throw that in the comments, and we'll go through it. But until then, I'll just be kind of focusing on the major assets for each market segment. So right now, I'm going to start off with SPY, and this will relate pretty closely to futures. But I feel like SPY is better since a lot of people trade options and things like that. Um, they'll have more use looking at a SPY chart than per se like the ES or something like that. So again, let me know if you want something in particular to be analyzed, and I'll go ahead and get that analyzed as well. So let's go ahead and just start off with SPY. Um, in these videos, I'm not going to break down too much of like the technical strategy. You can look at the other like bar by bar videos if you want pure technical analysis. On these videos, I'm going to focus more on just trying to show the setup in real time, and I'll do a little explaining. But if you want more in-depth explaining, just go look at the other videos or ask me specific questions, and we could talk about that specifically. Okay, dope. So if we're looking at SPY, we have this uptrend, pretty obvious uptrend. That was since like 20, since the pandemic uh, bear move, and then we've pretty much just been up since then. Pretty easy bull trend. Couple trades in there you probably would have taken, and then right now we're sitting in a like a range zone, right? Like once we came up here, we started getting bars that were like back to back to back. So once you see that set up, you can just kind of create like a range with some resistance and a support. And then once we broke below that previous support, I just took an equal measure and just measured it down. And that's how I expanded the range to sort of cover um, more space. Pretty simple. A lot of those concepts is just market geometry. Simple stuff. So on the weekly chart, we're kind of in a place of indecision. There's a lot of pressure fundamentally, right? Whether it's inflation, whether it's a war, there are a lot of things going on that I think make trading SPY right now a little tricky. Um, all things considered, I'd almost take this off the chart, right? And I'd say I'd be looking at this range area and thinking to myself that we're going to try to test these lows and probably come back into the range. Just fundamental ideas of when when you see a ranging market, generally we're going to break outside the top side, we're going to break outside the low side, and we're just going to keep oscillating between resistance and support until we get a true breakout pullback, which is maybe difficult to explain if you don't already know what we're talking about. A lot of the people who will even find these videos know exactly what I mean by a breakout pullback. But until we get that breakout pullback, I'm not really going bearish. I'm not really bullish, but I will buy at support and I will sell at resistance. So on a weekly time frame, what we're looking at currently, we have this pivot low. We had a first entry, and then the second entry was right there, but that is in the middle of our range, into the EMA, into previous support. That's not going to be a good short trade. And then we have like an engulfing bar with a huge bearish close. But again, you're selling the breakout. Generally, we're not going to sell breakouts. We're going to wait for the breakout pullback. So essentially, we want to see a pattern that looks just like this, where a bar goes above and then comes back and closes below the previous bar. I want to see this same pattern, but I want it all to happen underneath this gold line. So it needs to happen somewhere down here. And then I have a little bit more faith in going short, especially opening up new short positions. So until we see that, we're just kind of in an indecision zone on SPY. Um, Now there are going to be like shorter term trades. Like if I go down to the daily chart or I go down to an hourly chart, there will definitely be more obvious trades. And I will go down to the daily, but I'm going to try to avoid going much further than the daily on the weekly outlook videos. So right now, if we're looking at SPY, you're kind of just sitting on your hands. We're waiting on price action to develop. Shit, I'm pretty sure there's some bulls who got trapped here. There's an entry to buy just above this bar, and if you would have bought, you would have got trapped. So there's just a lot of indecision right now in the market. I would just kind of be careful. Maybe the thing I'd be looking for is that if this is possibly leg one, right? You can just see this entire move right there being leg one. It's possible that we'll make a leg two. So that leg two will get us to about 392, 393, somewhere in there. Not to say that will happen. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'd be kind of keying into this area to see if we do push. If we push lower than these pivots, I'd be keying into this area next on the weekly chart. So for now, on SPY, we're just kind of sideways. I don't see anything that would really make me want to take any positions. I'll just be sitting on my hands on SPY. If we look at the daily, we'll take a peek. I don't think I want to do anything too crazy on the daily because a lot of the same rules would apply. Yeah, this particular week, I don't really see anything on the daily that would make me feel differently, like I'd want to put on a position. It's a little more obvious that there's like a downtrend going through there. But even with that downtrend, you still got to be careful because we have resistance right there. So we're more likely to go down and then try to come back and test this resistance line. than anything else. So I would definitely just try to take it easy, trying to short SPY, whatever options you're on right now. I would just take it easy. And this channel maybe can be expanded. So where this channel line is could be our midline. So we could see prices come and test this area. So that would be our next target. Let's see if we come and test this area and get a bounce, especially if it's before these pivots. And then again, if we don't bounce, I guess we'll just be looking to kind of play this whole trend about to this 393 level. So we'll wait and see on SPY. And on SPY, I might even do like interweek videos, maybe like on Wednesday. Maybe I'll tap back in and do like a quick 3-minute analysis on SPY when we have 2 extra bars. We can see how those bars develop. But for now, on the weekly, I would be on my hands on SPY. The trade will come. These trades, especially trading the weekly chart, it might be 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks before you get that trade. But when you do get that trade, I mean, you can really hold that for a couple months sometimes. And they're not always easy to hold. But, when you catch something, you like over here, it's pretty obvious when you're right. So SPY, we're going to be on our hands. We're going to be waiting. Let's see what else we got. Let's move on to cryptos. So what I'll do is I'll touch like equities, I'll touch stocks, and I'll touch forex. And then if we have any like specific charts that people want broken down, then I'll go specifically, talk about Tesla or I don't know, whatever y'all are trading. Generally, I only trade Bitcoin and the ES and SPY. That's really all I need. But I know people are trading all sorts of things, so you can throw in whatever you need. I like Bitcoin. I do have a chart of Bitcoin that's like completely broken down, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to sort of expose people to the way I look at the charts. So I'll break down Bitcoin. I'll do all the analysis real time right now. So on Bitcoin, clearly you see the uptrend, just a real big impulse uptrend. In any other asset, I'll be honest, in any other asset, a move like this is like considered kind of unsustainable, right? Like if you saw this move in the futures market, you're expecting prices to come test kind of this area right before that massive breakout. I think what keeps people in the Bitcoin trade is that we all believe that this is the future of money and the future of technology, and blockchain is going to save the world, and all the corrupt politicians are going to lose because of blockchain and all that stuff. Hopefully that's true. But, purely from a technical standpoint, you start seeing moves like this little parabolic move, that shit is not sustainable. So although I love Bitcoin and I bought Bitcoin around 13, I'd be really cautious. I'd be super cautious about just loading up on Bitcoin because it can definitely push back down to this breakout area. Just because this move it's not a sustainable move is like a 45-degree angle. Like when it charts kind of like this, and you get shit, I didn't click it. But when it charts at that 45-degree angle, and you get bull impulse, bear retracement, bull impulse, bear retracements, that's a healthy trend. When you get trends that look like that, that's a lot of greed. That's a lot of impulse buying. That's a lot of market hype. And once you run out of that greed, market hype, and the fear starts to set, a lot of these longs don't have a lot of conviction, and they'll sell. And when it sells, it's going to go right back to where, where it broke out, right? There's a reason why it consolidates, because there's a balance between buyers and sellers. So it's going to go back to where we find that consolidation. So that's just a little market theory. That's a little like random stuff. If you're watching and you want a particular stock, a particular forex pair, a futures, a commodity, whatever you want, just throw it in the chat and we'll look at that too. We'll break that down. So with Bitcoin, after this impulse move, we're looking at a consolidation zone. We're looking at a ranging market, right? You can see that there are some lows. We have our first sort of low here, and then we get a second low there. We get like a third one there. I'd kind of split the difference between all of them. I'd probably look at, I like this area. I look at there for support, and I would be looking at, here's our first high, and then we get an impulse down, then we get like a failed breakout, and then another impulse down. So I'd be looking at this first high. I'll just treat that like a failed breakout. So pretty much Bitcoin is ranging in so few words. I'd be looking to, a lot of the market is in an indecisive state. There's just so much going on in the world right now that a lot of the market is indecisive. You know, these videos are going to hopefully make us all a lot of money, but that doesn't mean we're going to get trades every week, every bar, every single second there's a trade that we're going to make a bunch of money on. In fact, I would say like 70% of the time, we're just going to do the analysis, we're going to talk about what's going on, and we're going to be waiting. And for that 30% of the time where we see the setup, that's when you're supposed to enter. That's when we're going to talk about how to manage the trade and all that stuff. So there's no hype behind this stuff. You know, I'm pretty sure that we're going to make some money, but it's not going to be like every second, every bar. That's just not how trading is in real life. So right now, we want to respect this bear move. We're coming off the high side. We went and touched the low side, and now we're pushing towards the to the other side. So I would just have like a little micro. There's like a little micro trend through there. We broke out. We tried to make a new low. We went higher, and we tried to make another new low. The market is shifting. It is shifting. It's hard to say how strongly. Another little low-key thing I see is that there is like a micro congestion zone. If you look at this red bar, we get an open and close. See, it opens here and closes there, and all of that is inside of this red bar. Then we get another bar that opens and then closes again inside of this red bar. Those are usually signs that the market has found some kind of equilibrium, congestion sort of situation. I'd be looking at this zone as well, right? So essentially what we're looking at is on a bigger scale, we'll be oscillating from top to bottom. And then on a smaller scale, we'll be looking for oscillations between there, right? And the same principles apply. I'm going to look for that breakout pullback below this area to sell, although I'm not 100% sure how you sell Bitcoin right now. Maybe if you have like a specialized product that's tied to Bitcoin, you could probably short that product, but I don't know how you short Bitcoin specifically. If anyone knows, feel free to leave that in the comments too. And then again, I would buy with a breakout pullback above this area. So right now, what it looks like we had like a failed breakout of this zone, and now we're just kind of trending to like this lower zone. And I think that's a good thing, right? Because if we trend back down to this zone and we get like a strong bull signal, we'll have like double support. We'll have the overall support, and that's, you know, if we can get a trade off this like larger support, that's where you're gonna get these big moves, right? So you kind of want to trade the biggest chart pattern that you see. And if we get the confirmation on like a smaller scale as well, that'll just make the trade that much better. So that's kind of what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. I kind of want to see price action come down to this, what is that, 35,875 area and about 34,500. I want it to come set up here. I want it to make a bar that looks kind of like this bar right there. There are like some technical specifications, right? Like it needs to be a second entry. I'll probably have to make some videos on what second entries are and stuff like that, because it's just, you can't just buy, oh, the bar is green and it looks good, I'm gonna buy. Nah, I can't do that. It needs to have a certain sequence, and in order to learn that sequence, the best place to go to learn that sequence is actually the price action trading system. That's where I would go to learn the sequence. Let me see if I can pull it up. Um, this guy on YouTube, his name is Mac, and I've been trading his system for 8 years. Um, and he's the one who really kind of, I mean, he's been doing videos for like 10 years, 11 years. And that's how you're going to learn how to actually trade the system. So if you go to this channel, this YouTube channel, let me see if I can pull it up. If you go to this YouTube channel, he will specifically talk about first entries, second entries, failed second entries, breakout pullbacks. Just all the rules that I'm talking about is kind of based off of what he has going on. I've been doing this for a while, so I kind of have my own methods, but essentially it's based off of what he's got going on. So if you're confused or anything, just go look at that. You can go look at some of my previous videos, and that's kind of what we're talking about. So for Bitcoin, let's just see if we can come down to this area. If we come down to this area, get a second entry with like a nice signal bar, kind of like that, we'll try to buy. We'll buy down here somewhere. So that's what I see on Bitcoin. Right now, I don't want to short it. I don't really want to do anything with it. If you are holding Bitcoin from whenever, I'd probably still hold it, but I wouldn't be looking to like add on too quickly. Let's see if we get down to this area or we get like a breakout pullback above this micro range. That's kind of what we got going on for Bitcoin. If we go onto that daily chart on Bitcoin, see, if you look at the daily chart on Bitcoin, I want to avoid people from I want to discourage people from trading. Um, it's just going to make your life more stressful and kind of hard. But, there are some like day trades, if you are seeing what's going on, there's some day trades, right? Like, for instance, on the daily chart, we're trending lower. If if we get like a bull move higher, and then we get some kind of reversal bar along this line or along this resistance, that is actually going to be a pretty good short. And you would look to short from this area to these lows. And the only reason why you would do that on a daily chart and not necessarily like the weekly chart is because of the the risk, right? Because the amount of risk you take on is a lot different, and it makes it worth it on a daily chart because your signal bar will be a little smaller than if you try to do the same trade on the weekly chart. Try to do that same trade on the weekly chart, you're looking at like a bigger bar, and the setup isn't even as clean, and there are other things. Um, so on a daily, there's a lot of trades like on the daily that you could probably take like a once this pulls back. So what we look for something like to come into this area, and then you want to short it whenever we get like a bear bar that looks clean. You want to short it there and just try to look for it to come test this low side. I don't know if that's what I don't think that's your best trade. I don't think that's a trade you should be like looking for and searching for. Um, Not that it's like crazy aggressive or anything. It's just better to focus on your best trades. And I don't know if that's like your best trade, but it's there on the daily. It's there. There'd be probably a trade there. So zooming out for Bitcoin, let's wait. The best trade is going to be coming back down on this side and buying it and seeing what we get over there. Okay, let's now check out gold. I have a good friend who trades gold, and I want to see if he has some analysis from last week for gold. Um, let's start off with the weekly. We'll probably go into the daily on gold because gold's got a little bit more going on. Let's delete that alert. Europe. Okay, cool. So, gold. Let's get it popping. It kind of looks like every other chart right now, right? Like every chart in the market is kind of doing the same thing. Got a big uptrend, and then we get some kind of like consolidation, sideways movement looking thing. So most charts kind of look the same right now. Um, so we want to treat it all the same. So I'd be looking for my lows. My lows are probably down here, and the highs probably about here. Let's take this off the screen. I would say you can see the uptrend, right? We're making higher highs, higher lows, a little bit of like a lower low, but it doesn't go lower than the like original low. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. But we came and touched this resistance zone, and then there's like a range inside of a range, right? Open and close inside of this bar, open and close inside of both of the previous bars. And the only reason you don't want to get like too granular with this, you don't want to do too much trying to look for the range inside of the range, but this just helps you stay on track. Because like a lot of times, like you would look at this and short this, thinking, oh, I'm going to short this and try to get down to this low. And it can work like that, but you want to be aware that there's like a micro support right there. So if you short this and you get some bull looking bar around this area, that's probably what's going on. If you short this and it just shoots straight past it, then it didn't really, wasn't that strong. But in that context, then your best trade is like it's gonna touch this area and then pull back to this area, maybe even a little past this area, and then you're gonna short it up here. You're gonna try to short it up here. And then from up here, you can have like I want to probably make this line a different color. Let me make this line a different color. You could have a couple targets, right? You could have a target that is let's go gold. You could have probably 3 targets. So you could have a target here. Let's actually make it not gold because my other stuff is in gold. Let's make it red. Hopefully y'all can see that pretty easily. You have a target just before the previous support. Nope, not trying to do that. You could have a target at the midline, and then you could have a target for the home run, which would be on the other side of the range. And that's pretty much how we'd be looking to play gold. Um, Again, all of this is just like market theory, none of it's like really predictions. It's just taking a strategy and trying to like test it. So I mean, it could very well just go straight down to the bottom, and hey, that's just is what it is. But the highest probability trade and the lowest risk, like risk on trade, would pretty much, if this happens, you get kind of like a bounce. We come up here, take the short up here, and then you can hold that short to those 3 targets. But we're on the weekly chart, so every week we'll be able to come in and see what it's doing and kind of adjust our plan according to that. Let's see, on the daily chart, on the daily chart, it's just more obvious, right? Like, you don't want to short here. We're way too close to support. You want to see it bounce. And so on a daily, maybe you buy at this support. I'd be careful though. There's not like a great setup for the buy. Um, off the high side, like a high count, everything's just like a first entry. So let's see, maybe on like Wednesday, if we have like a first entry and we're near these lows, and then we'd still want to see price move down, go up once, keep going down lower, and then go up again. And then that second time it goes up, hopefully it's still near this support. We can buy that, and you just ride it up to there. Um, but again, those are more of like trades, intra-week trades. It's just a little harder to it's just harder to manage and control that type of stuff. So I'm trying to focus more on weekly chart stuff. But if anyone is trading, I mean, I'm a trader, so we can hop in specifically and talk about trade management for whatever you're trading. But for now, for the general market outlook, I just want to kind of keep it a little more broad, more swing trades, make it easy for like people to follow. Um, so yeah, I don't want to hang out like too long. I don't want to make these like longer than they need to be. Um, but those are the three markets from equities, crypto, and like forex. Let's see if we can talk about anything else specifically. I got futures. I had some good stuff. And I know a lot of people are trading Palantir. Palantir is like Palantir shit, yo. I hate Palantir. Let's talk about Palantir real quick. Palantir. A lot of people were trading Palantir. You can see the downtrend. So there's, everyone who's in like bull positions, we're underwater. I'm underwater on Palantir right now as well. There were a lot of technical reasons to get out of Palantir, and that's kind of why I'm doing these videos, because a lot of people say like, oh, when you invest, you got to like pay attention to the fundamentals and pay attention to all these like metrics, and I think you should, but oftentimes you'll see stuff on the chart well before a news release comes out on it or before somebody reports on whatever they're reporting on. So I kind of think that it's better just to learn technicals. Just follow the technicals. If it's a good company, there'll be a good technical setup and you can buy it, and then all your fundamentals will confirm, hey, it's a great company, and buy it. So with Palantir, I mean, we're in a downtrend. There was like a little push up to this EMA, and then we made like a bull bar at the EMA. I would almost, this trend line, this trend channel, it's not that strong because although we have like a higher low, we got to the EMA and like kind of reversed. We didn't even close above the EMA. That kind of makes me think that it's not that weak. But there's a lot going on with Palantir, so at any given moment it might pop. But until then, I'm just really kind of looking at this like we had like a downtrend breakout, and we're probably gonna come test this 950 area. Probably come test this 950 area. We'll see what happens. And then on a larger scale, we have like a larger channel working down as well. So everything about this stock is bearish. You can cross your fingers and pray that it pops or something. I don't know. Not yet. It doesn't look like it yet. We're probably going to come down to 950. Maybe at 950 we'll get another chance to figure out a play for Palantir. So for now, Palantir is kind of on ice. I don't see anything particularly good about Palantir right now. I mean, there's a lot of specifics in here, a lot of analysis. I don't want to go through like everything for no reason. I know people were trading Twitter because of everything that was going on with Elon. So in Twitter, again, we have this sort of like downtrend market. Right here on the 28th is when the whole Elon news broke, and you can see we had like a big, let me take off this so y'all can see better. Right, a big gap up, and then it made like this huge bear bar. Generally, prices are going to try to fill this gap. So I'm a little bearish on Twitter. I would think that before we come and hit this, like if we had a stop here, before we hit this stop, we would probably close this gap. And by closing the gap, I just mean that price will come and nick this area, touch this area, and then either continue down or go up. But everything about this chart right now is bearish. I think the only thing that would keep you engaged um, to the long side, at least in the short term, is that we never touched this line. So I wonder if this attempt right here is going to attempt to touch this line and then kind of give us a reversal pattern, or maybe it'll go like sideways and then touch the line, give us like a bearish pattern. Um, I'm staying away from predictions. So for now, the most likely thing is we're going to close this gap. And since we're in a downtrend, I'm just looking for opportunities to get short. But who knows? Maybe Elon will say something crazy and then it'll shoot back up again. But just pure technicals, I'm kind of bearish on Twitter. Let's see. I know people trade Ethereum. We can talk about Ethereum real quick. That's not Ethereum. Ethereum is generally like Bitcoin. It's not going to be too different. Okay, on the weekly chart. You can see the same pattern, right? We have like this parabolic move, right? This interstellar move, and pretty much we go sideways, right? So all the same rules apply. We're coming off this high side, and with Ethereum, I mean, we didn't even touch this low side. So I feel like Ethereum is a little different. I think Ethereum has a lot of use case, right? Like people are using Ethereum to sell their NFTs. Um, what else? I mean, buy what the digital land on Decentraland and all that stuff. People are using Ethereum, so I do think Ethereum has a slightly different thing going on than Bitcoin. Um, so I'm more willing to see Ethereum as like higher potential. Um, but since we didn't come and touch this low side, this 1959 area, and you can see how we're currently at the high side of this like mini congestion, I'm looking for prices to just kind of come test over here. If we test here and sellers still weak or buyers are weak, we'll probably come test down there. And then here's where we're really going to be able to make decisions. If we start seeing the buyers load up here, this is going to be your best place to take your trade, somewhere in here, and then you'll hold that trade again. Same thing. Probably look for, because if you trade this trade just to the previous support, that's probably not going to be good risk reward. It's probably not going to be enough. But if you trade from this level to like this level, that's probably pretty good risk reward. And then again, you'll have another level up here to trade to. That'd be pretty good as well. But I'll be looking at Ethereum like kind of down in here. Um, yeah. So for now, just a lot of shorts in the market. I could see a few more weeks of short selling. You know, but I wouldn't be too hype about anything that happens in between this level. I would just kind of take it easy. If you're holding, keep holding, um, and then let's wait to see if we get down here before we make like another long. And that's pretty much all we got. I used to do a newsletter. I would like type this out and like send out reports, but making videos is like easier, and I can be way more detailed on a video than I can with like a written newsletter. Um, so if you're watching this like in the future, leave a comment. Whatever you're trading, like just shoot that in the chat, and we'll look at it. We can really break down where to place your stops, how to do trailing stops, how to set up your targets, um, key levels. Like even if you're already in the trade, we can even talk about, okay, if you're in the trade, here's what to look for. Here's how to like control your risk, whatever. We're traders, so we could probably help out with that. Okay, let's not make this thing go on too long. This is just like the first edition of the Market Outlook series. We'll get back to like the bar by bars on futures here pretty soon. But for now, I just thought it'd be beneficial for a lot of people who are already trading anyway, especially people trading like options and things like that, to just do like these sort of weekly videos on what's going on in the market. And like I said, a lot of times there won't be too many trades, but when the trade's set up, I mean, we'll be able to really ride those trades for a few weeks, and I think that's where we're going to get a lot of value for people. Is that if you catch some of these trades, I mean, you could have just ridden this trade ridiculously, and everything is easy. Hindsight is 2020, but I'll show y'all in real time. You can find the trades. It just got to be patient. It takes a little bit of time to develop. Um, and that's what these videos will be. This would be like kind of a record of what we saw, what we were thinking, and we'll be able to kind of look back and say, okay, I can see how we found that setup, or how we were expecting that setup 2 to 3 weeks before it actually happened. So hopefully this helps. Go ahead, drop a comment if you want something done. Ideally, that'd be great. Like I'm always looking for new charts to like review. I have my own personal list, but like going through all this personal list stuff, I don't think it's relevant to everybody. So if you have something specific, just throw it in there. I'd love to break it down. And yeah, that's pretty much all we got going on. So that's it for today. Y'all know me as Kamal Hart, aka Sean Goody, aka the Trade Sage. Whichever one you want to call me by is cool. But we'll be back next week, and we'll see what's going on. All right, guys, have a great trading week. Peace.